A new major report has shown even more trade suitors for Flames defenseman Christ Tanev. And while it may not be the teams we necessarily want, as you can guess from the thumbnail, of course, we have to keep you updated. Christ Tanev is wanted by many contenders, and now in a brand new report, we know even more teams. Welcome to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, you love what you see in this video, make sure you subscribe because 89% of the people watching are not subscribed. 89, that's a number we love around here in Calgary with all Flames fans. Hey, maybe if we get that down to 24%, the Flames will win the Cup in 2024. Who knows? But if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors on the Flames, then make sure you stick around. But like I said, Christ Tanev, his name is constantly in the trade rumors, and now after a new report, we know that there's even more. And it's not exactly the teams that the Flames fans want to be making deals with, but that's just the way it is in the hockey business. And I can't imagine it'll happen, but the first team, the number one in this video, is the Edmonton Oilers. I know. I think Craig Conroy knows that Flames fans do not want to make a deal with the Oilers, but again, if you strike the right deal, it might happen. Now, the Oilers, I think, would have to be ready to sell everything they have in order to buy Christ Tanev, because if they can shore up that defense, they become even more of contenders, and that's not what Flames fans want to hear, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for Tanev to leave Calgary for Edmonton. Now, here's the title of the new report. The Oilers are reportedly making a push for Flames defenseman Christ Tanev. So making a push, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, we're close to a deal, of course. But if the Oilers are making a push, in a way, it's good for Calgary. It means Tanev's value is going up. He's being noticed by more teams. But again, it is Edmonton. And Edmonton, their defense is okay. But with Tanev, I think it really does make them one of the best teams. Now, the Pacific is obviously very competitive so far this year. You look at Vegas, you look at Vancouver, you look, of course, at Edmonton. They're all could be the team in there. You look at the other side of the West over in the Central. I mean, Colorado and Dallas are looking incredible. Winnipeg as well. But my goodness. Let's just continue with the Oilers part. So sources say Oilers are making a push for Tanev. This article was talking about Vancouver before, so that's why it says you certainly don't want him going to that team if you're the Canucks for sure. Dallas has high interest in Tanev. Many others like the Leafs are still in there, in Winnipeg too. And for the Oilers, they clearly see something there too. Dating back to early January, Ken Holland and company have shown interest in Tanev, and continuing reports have since solidified that. So Ken Holland, he's after a D-man, and we all know the two best D-men on the trade block right now are both Flames. Now, the Oilers would rather go for the more defensive one. They already have Evan Bouchard. They have Darnell Nurse, you could say, who can get involved more offensively. So rather than Hanifin, of course, they'd rather have a Tanev. But Tanev, I mean, he ain't exactly cheap. But here, for comparison's sake, are the Oilers' 6 defensemen, where HockeyViz.com pegs their impacts represented as a percentage above or below league average. So there you go. You can look at, their defensive zone impact, their overall, all of that. I'll give you a second to look at that there. So Tanev's ability as a shutdown defenseman is something that the Oilers would highly covet, as it represents a stunning 23% positive swing over Cody Ceci, who Tanev would logically replace. Now, Cody Ceci, in no way is he a bad defenseman, but he's been always dubbed as a bit of a liability out there for each team that he's gone to. I think that's a little unfair. He can be a good shutdown guy. Maybe he doesn't get involved offensively. But that being said, he is obviously no Christ Tanev. So Christ Tanev would make them so much better. If CC becomes that, 7th D-man, that's still not a bad 7th D-man to have, but it is a great upgrade. The issue, however, will be the cost of acquisition. A pending UFA, Tanev carries $4.5 million cap hit this season, and while the Flames have space to retain the needed salary, that always costs some level of assets. But with the Oilers' current cap situation adding the factor of in-season prorated cap hits, Edmonton would need the Flames to retain roughly $1 million, assuming the Oilers send assets Calgary's way that isn't currently on the roster. So it looks like Edmonton would really have to give up picks here, and lots of them. If Calgary didn't want to retain on a Markstrom deal to the Devils, I think it is extremely unlikely that they would retain on a deal to send Tanev to Edmonton. Your biggest rival, you don't make trades with them. It's just, it's almost an unwritten rule. But Like I said, and like I've been saying in all of these videos, if you do have the right deal in front of you, sometimes you do gotta just pull the trigger. That being said, I think Edmonton again would have to give up tons of picks. I don't know if there's any prospects in there that the Flames would necessarily want, but you can always throw that in. But I do not expect the Oilers to send back a current roster player to the Flames like Vancouver did with Kuzmenko in the Lindholm deal to Vancouver. But either way, Edmonton is now in the mix. Of course, I'll keep you updated. That's insane. I think it'd be shocking if Edmonton were to pick up Tanev. But of course, it could happen, so it has to be said as a news update. Let's move on. The next team, the Winnipeg Jets. Now, they've been, in the trade talks for quite a while now. They're one of the teams that's actually already made a trade so far in the trade season when they acquired Sean Monahan from Montreal. They need a D-man as well, and I know a lot of Jets fans have been saying they want Tanev. They want Tanev. It's funny how none of these teams like Edmonton, Vancouver, or Winnipeg are really talking about Noah Hanifin, but they all want Tanev. They want more of the shutdown guy who does not turn over the puck. But this is from The Athletic, and so it says Tanev would deepen the Jets' blue line and elevate a top four that tends to take on a hefty workload where he slots with Josh Morrissey or Brendan Dillon. Either way, his presence would likely shift Neil Pionk to the third pair, which would ease his minutes in a more sheltered role. Like most others in the playoff picture, making an addition like Tanev could require some salary retention or moving another contract out. The Jets should have assets to make that happen, though. Even without their first and second rounders this year, Winnipeg does have a 2024 second round from Montreal, which is more valuable because Montreal is obviously lower in the standings than its own pick, and the team has all of its first rounders and second rounders and third rounders in 2025 and 2026. So the Jets, they're another option. I don't think the Flames would retain on Tanev in this situation. I think it would be more the Jets would need to trade away one of their big contracts, make a salary dump to maybe a third party, or just a completely different trade like what the Flames have done with Monahan in the past, sending him to Montreal. But no first rounders or second rounders this year. Would the Flames want picks in the future? Probably. So this is another situation just like Edmonton where I think picks are what's most valuable here. Maybe there's a prospect or two the Flames can look at, but picks for the future, again, I think would be the most likely scenario for the Flames in a return. That being said, again, I think it'd be pretty shocking if he went to Winnipeg, but it's nowhere near as shocking as Edmonton. I still can't believe that that's an actual news report out there, that Edmonton is making a strong push and taking a good look at Tanev. But Winnipeg, they are in the mix as well. Now, the last team we'll look at in this video from the same article from The Athletic is the Dallas Stars. Now, I know they've also been in the mix for a little while now, but apparently they're even further along in making that push. Dallas, they're doing really, really well right now. If they can get, Jason Robertson and Rupe Hintz going even more, kind of like what they were last year, then they look almost unstoppable. Jake Ottinger is already a good enough goalie. With a stud D-man like Christ Tanev, just a shutdown guy in front of him, Dallas, I think, genuinely becomes the number one favorite to win the cup with Christ Tanev. But here is what it says in the article. So if Dallas opts to add, management will likely seek a third right-handed defenseman. Tanev would be an upgrade on the two currently on the roster, Jani Hakanpää and Niels Lundqvist. His presence would give the team more flexibility, especially if the coaches opt to break up that lefty-lefty top pair. The most natural fix for him, though, would probably be the second pair in a shutdown capacity. That would both ease Hakanpää's workload and subsequently shift more reinforcements to the third pair. The Stars have assets that should appeal to the Flames, with 5 of their 6 first and second round picks over the next 3 years. So they're another team. They have the picks to give up. Dallas, I definitely see this one as being likely. It's the most likely in this video for sure. Out of the division, Dallas has what Calgary is looking for in picks. I know Conroy is saying he wants to keep it competitive, but I can't see a roster player coming from Edmonton, Winnipeg, or Dallas. So I think it would be more, the Flames are already adding D-men like when they signed Pahal so that the Flames can stay in a somewhat competitive environment for the rest of the season once Tanev, Hanifin are gone. Maybe Markstrom, maybe Vladar, maybe Mangiapane, whoever else. But I don't know. Dallas could definitely be in the mix. Of course, we'll keep you updated. If I were to hazard a guess at the strongest suitor so far, I would say it is Dallas. I think it's too much for Toronto to to afford. The Canucks want him so bad. The Flames know that. That makes it even harder to make a trade because the Flames will just ask for more. Edmonton, Winnipeg, definitely possible, but I think Dallas is the most likely here. So Tanev in Dallas, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'd rather have Tanev as a Flame forever, but you got to get what you can for your assets. So that's it for the Christ Tanev for this video. I'm sure there will be more Tanev videos heading up to the trade deadline. But the last thing I wanted to look at in this video is today's game. So the Flames have the first of 2 back-to-back matinee games. This one goes against the Detroit Red Wings. So it'll be at 2 p.m. today if you're watching it on February 17th, of course, on Saturday. Very interesting game. You know, Detroit's making a push for the playoffs for sure now, but they've had an awful Western road swing so far. They got decimated by the Oilers the other night. They're letting McDavid get records and stuff. So, yeah, a very good game for the Flames. Markstrom should be back in net. If he wins, it's his 100th win with the Flames, which would be very, very cool. And of course, he's trying to showcase his value. He might still be on the trade block. Of course, we at Flames Digest will be talking more about that. But hopefully it's an exciting game. Hopefully the Flames play way better than they did against San Jose. And yeah, hopefully it's just an enjoyable weekend overall. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you're new around here. We love the Flames. You love the Flames. Come on, just stick around. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Flames, go.